Airport staff detain a quiet man based on nothing but assumptions. He didn't resist. He didn't explain. When his badge was finally revealed, the power in the room shifted, and so did the truth. This story exposes how people treat those they believe have no authority, and what happens when silence reveals what lies beneath. Airports are built for movement, not stillness. Everything flows. People rush. Announcements echo. Wheels scrape against polished floors. And in the middle of all that motion, he stood still. No suit, no entourage, no visible urgency. Just a man in a dark jacket, worn shoes, and a small carry-on bag resting at his feet. To everyone else, he was invisible. To airport staff, he was suspicious. He didn't fidget, didn't check his phone every 10 seconds, didn't pace. He simply stood there, eyes scanning the terminal, calm in a place designed to make people anxious. That calm was the first mistake. Because in environments built on control, calm without explanation feels like defiance. A security officer noticed him from across the terminal. Then another. Then a supervisor. They watched him the way predators watch still prey. Too composed. Too quiet. Too alone. He's been standing there a while, one of them said. Doing what? Another asked. Nothing, came the reply. Nothing was enough. The officer approached with practiced authority. Sir. The man turned slowly. Yes. Can I ask what you're doing here? Waiting. For who? For someone. The answer was polite. Simple. Unremarkable. But it wasn't satisfying. Do you have a ticket? The officer asked. Yes. May I see it? The man reached into his jacket, unhurried, and handed it over. Everything was valid. Everything was correct. Still, the officer didn't return it. Why are you standing here instead of at the gate? The man paused, then smiled faintly. Because I arrived early. That smile triggered something. Not anger. Not fear. Irritation. Because authority doesn't like being met with ease. The officer glanced back at his colleagues. Sir, I'm going to need you to come with us. For what reason? Routine check. The word routine has ended more freedoms than force ever has. The man nodded once and picked up his bag. He didn't resist. Didn't ask for a supervisor. Didn't raise his voice. And that made them even more uncomfortable. They led him into a small room near the security offices. White walls, a metal table, 2 chairs, no windows, a place designed to strip people of context. Sit, the supervisor said. The man sat. They asked the same questions again. Where are you going? Why are you traveling alone? What do you do for work? Who are you meeting? He answered everyone. Calm, clear, consistent. No contradictions. No nerves. That was the problem. One officer leaned back and crossed his arms. You don't seem very concerned. The man looked at him. Should I be? Silence filled the room. Authority feeds on reactions. Without them, it starves. People who have nothing to hide usually don't act like this, the officer said. The man tilted his head slightly. Act like what? Like you're in control. That was the moment everything shifted. Part 4. The badge they didn't see. The supervisor leaned forward. Sir, do you have any form of identification besides your ticket? Yes. The man reached into his inner pocket. Slowly, deliberately, not in fear, in precision. He placed a small leather case on the table and opened it. Inside was a badge. Not flashy, not dramatic, but unmistakable. The room went quiet. No one spoke. The supervisor's eyes narrowed, then widened. The officer who had been mocking his calm straightened instantly. This can't be real, one of them said. The man finally spoke with weight. It is. The badge wasn't just identification. It was clearance. Federal clearance. The kind of clearance that doesn't explain itself. The kind that answers questions before they're asked. Part 5, the power shift. The supervisor swallowed. Why didn't you tell us earlier? The man closed the badge case gently. Because you didn't ask who I was, he said. You asked what I was doing. Silence returned, heavier now. One officer stood up abruptly. I need to make a call. Yes, the man replied calmly. You do. The call took less than 2 minutes. When the officer returned, his voice was different. Respectful, measured, careful. Sir, we apologize for the inconvenience. The man stood. Inconvenience isn't the word, he said quietly. He picked up his bag. You didn't detain a threat, he continued. You revealed how you treat people you think have no power. No one argued. They escorted him out, not as a suspect, but as a liability they hoped would forget. As he walked back into the terminal, everything looked the same. Flights boarding, people rushing, announcements echoing. But something had changed. Not in the airport, in the people who detained him. Because they learned something that day. Power doesn't always wear uniform. Authority doesn't always announce itself. And silence is not submission. Sometimes it's restraint. Sometimes it's testing you. And sometimes it's watching to see who you really are when you think no one important is looking. Here's what lies beneath moments like this. People don't reveal their character when they're dealing with the powerful. They reveal it when they think they aren't. The badge didn't change who that man was. It exposed who they were. And that lesson stayed long after his flight took off.